At long last, Marathon finally has a release date. Bungie just put out a brand new pre-order trailer revealing the date of March 5th. Now, this is kind of an interesting day since this takes place on a Thursday, which most games do typically release either on a Thursday or a Friday. What's interesting about this day of the week for me, though, is that Destiny typically has its weekly resets on Tuesdays, which is when they drop their updates, their patch notes, their new expansions, anything of that nature. So with Marathon also being a live service game, I would expect any future content, updates, events, wipes, stuff of that nature will likely take place on Thursdays. That way there's no overlap with Destiny. Now let's actually go over everything that was revealed today, as there's been a ton of information from things like pre-order bonuses to collaborations to even peripheral devices that are releasing. As well, I also want to speculate on when Bungie plans to have that open preview weekend that they've been talking about for quite a few weeks now. As the name of the trailer suggests, pre-orders are now available. Again, Marathon releases on March 5th, 2026 for Steam, PlayStation 5, as well as Xbox Series X and S. So the interesting thing that you can see here is that there are clearly no old-gen consoles included, only current-gen and PC. This is something that Destiny players specifically have been asking for Bungie to do for a number of years now, as they felt that old-gen consoles were actually holding back the potential of Destiny 2, so this is something that is good to see for Marathon, and as well perhaps even the future expansions that are coming out for Destiny 2 later this year. Now, the standard edition of Marathon, which is priced at $39.99, is going to include access to all gameplay updates, which includes maps, runner shells, events, and more as the year progresses. As well, if you pre-order Marathon, you're going to receive a skin for the CE tactical sidearm, a weapon charm, a weapon sticker, a background, as well as an emblem. Now, if you have your Bungie.net account linked, you'll also receive the following items inside of Destiny 2, which is the UESC Echo Type Shell Exotic Ghost, the UESC Rover Exotic Ship, as well as the UESC Sprinter Exotic Sparrow. Now, the deluxe edition of Marathon is going to be priced at $59.99. This is going to include all standard edition content, 1 premium rewards pass voucher, 200 silk rewards pass tokens, which I'm assuming is like the currency in the game. You're also going to get 2 weapon cosmetics, one for the pump shotgun, the other for the overrun AR. This also includes 4 runner shell cosmetics, which is the Midnight Decay bundle for Vandal, Destroyer, Assassin, and Thief, which I have this promotional key art on screen here. I believe this is a look at what these skins will look like in-game. Now, for those interested, there's also going to be a collector's edition offered, which is $229.99 or $170 if you get it without the game code. This will contain a 1/6 scale Thief Runner Shell statue, a collectible miniature weave worm, an embroidered patch, postcards, digital rewards, and more. Now, so far, Marathon pre-order numbers actually seem to be doing pretty well. If we go to the Steam charts and look at specifically the United States for right now, Marathon is in 5th place, just behind Marvel Rivals, Counter-Strike 2, the Steam Deck, and Arc Raiders. And then if we look at the worldwide global Steam charts, Marathon is currently in 11th place. And keep in mind, pre-orders just went live. It hasn't even been that long, so I'm sure that this is probably going to climb. And especially as we get the open weekend, more folks get their hands on the game and likely more pre-orders come through. Now, also announced today was the English language voice acting cast of Marathon. You can see the whole list of voice actors on screen here, which includes names such as Ben Starr, Jennifer English, Roger Clark, and Neil Newbon, who you may recognize from hit titles over the last couple of years. We also learned about the system requirements for Marathon, at least on Steam, which for the most part is looking pretty well optimized. On the minimum end, they recommend a Intel Core i5-6600 or an AMD Ryzen 5 2600, 8GB of RAM, a GTX 1050 Ti, an RX 5500 XT, or an ARC A580. And then on the recommended side, we have the Intel Core i5-10400, the Ryzen 5 3500, 16GB of RAM, the GTX 2060, the RX 5700 XT, or the ARC A770. Moving over to even more news, we have a collaboration announced between Destiny and Marathon, which is not surprising at all. In Destiny 2, if you check out the Eververse store, I believe starting Tuesday, January 20th, you're going to be able to get the new Waiting for Exfil emote, the Silkworm Weave shader, the modern Mida multi-tool exotic weapon ornament, and as far as I could tell, this should be free to all players. If you look on screen, you can see a little preview of what the key art looks like for this, as well as what the Mida multi-tool exotic ornament should look like as well. That's not all though, as we also have Marathon-themed PlayStation 5 accessories. As you can see here, we have a Marathon-themed controller, which is looking really nice. I actually might grab this myself. As well, there's also a Marathon-themed Pulse Elite wireless headset. So now that we have an official release date out there for Marathon, we can try to figure out when Bungie plans on having that open preview weekend that we've been talking about. Now, Paul Tassi from Forbes, who is usually pretty correct in terms of information surrounding Bungie games, he reported that he was told that the open preview weekend will be sometime towards the end of February and to not expect it this month or a full month before launch. So assuming this also launches around a Thursday or Friday, we're likely looking at the 26th to maybe ending somewhere on the 2nd, which would be a Monday. Considering the full game though launches on March 5th, this may be a little too close to that launch, so perhaps even the weekend beforehand may be what Bungie is targeting. Now, personally, I would have liked to see this open weekend happen a little earlier, perhaps sometime around the first weekend of February. I know a month isn't a ton of time to implement a lot of feedback and make a ton of changes, but if that open preview weekend really pops off, this would allow more time for Bungie to get even more pre-orders in compared to if it just launches a week or two later. However, if you're not aware, a new ARG just launched today, and the Copium in me is really hoping that somehow this could lead to the playtest launching earlier. Now, for those that don't know, the Marathon team has been loving these ARGs. The very first one they did unlocked the original Vidoc from a few years back, and then last year they had another ARG, which that one eventually led to the public gameplay reveal. Now, for this ARG, I'm not really sure what else this could lead to besides that open playtest. We very well could just get the date confirmed at the end of it, but it would be incredibly hype if once the ARG was solved, they just shadow dropped that playtest onto us. I'm going to have a video linked in the description from Jake the Alright, who goes over how to do everything so far if you want to follow along and do it yourself. So it does seem like the ARG is time gated to some extent. We just don't know yet, but I'm going to be sure to follow this closely and see where this leads exactly. Now, that was everything that was just revealed regarding pre-orders as well as Marathon's launch. I hope this video helped consolidate all of that news, as there was a ton of information spread out across various social channels. This is just my first of many videos on this channel. My next one in a few days is actually going to go over what I personally believe makes Marathon special. So if you're interested in what I have to offer, a subscription would be greatly appreciated. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.